Every year, the team from Mountainfilm sits down with some of the festival's most dynamic and fascinating guests. These conversations are known as the Minds of Mountainfilm and can turn out to be some of the most inspiring parts of the weekend. Ali's down with director Chris Paine to talk about his new film.
Hi, welcome to Minds of Mountainfilm. I'm Carr Troxell, managing editor of Outside Magazine. We're here with Chris Paine, director of Who Killed the Electric Car and now Revenge of the Electric Car. So tell me a little bit about the new movie.
You know, this film was a really unique opportunity for us to go back to an issue that we had sort of participated on the front lines as activists and trying to move this us off of fossil fuels in our cars, which is such a huge issue.
Yeah.
And the auto industry had come to the table, and then with a lot of pressure, you know, the first film talked about, they all moved away from it. They crushed these cars. And this is terrible.
Right.
But right when we need to really begin our shift. So we made a movie about frontline activism and what kind of pressure you can do against intractable forces.
Right.
So it was a great opportunity to make a film about how sometimes things can change.
Right.
And we had the opportunity to go into some very big companies and small ones and spend a lot of time with them over 3 years to see what the heart of the entrepreneur is.
Yeah.
And how when zeitgeist is shifting and, you know, helped along by $4 gasoline and incredible pressure from people like us, people on the right wing on defense issues, people in the environmental movement on global warming, we've got to have a change. And so the conditions were finally right. And so how do you have those changes? Well, you still have to have entrepreneurs on the inside.
Yep.
So the new film is about that.
You had a lot more access this time with the new film. How were you able to work that out?
Yeah, the last time people in our group were getting arrested, and this time...
You're being welcomed in.
Well, yeah, it was kind of a dance. I think the reason we got in initially was with Tesla. Elon had liked the first film, and he had really felt like the car industry, Detroit, had come down on all the wrong side on this. And he realized that I'd probably put him in a pretty good light, or at least tell an accurate story about what he was up to.
Yeah.
So we got access with Elon in the very early days of Tesla. And somewhere along the line, I think Bob Lutz at GM decided that if GM's brand could not go any farther lower, because it really had hit. I mean, not only had they had bad cars through the 80s, and then they had gotten sort of the truck company right when we were all tired of trucks. And they thought, okay, what else could go wrong? Let's let these filmmakers in. We're going to do this electric car. And the agreement we made with them is we won't show you any footage, but on the other hand, we won't release any footage till 2011.
Okay.
So that was like 4 years ago.
Right.
And with that arrangement, they slowly let us into more of their process.
Right. A little bit of an NDA there. Sort of thing.
And then Nissan came along in the same way. We said, hey, Tesla's done this, GM's done this. What do you think? And we had a lot of car companies turn us down. So we were lucky to get the access we had.
Yeah. So what was Detroit's reaction in terms of, I mean, when the economy's crashing, the car industry's going under, what is Detroit's reaction during that time about the electric car?
Well, a lot of it is on our side, on the consumer side, because we go, well, I'm not sure, electric car only goes 100 miles on a charge. Well, what if I need to go to Vegas, or what if I need to go to Cheyenne or something on the weekend? And there's a lot of inertia, like people don't want to change.
Yeah.
Just, I know where my gas station is, I know what a tune-up is, I like my whatever car because it's like as sexy as I am.
Right.
Electric car, they don't want to try it.
Yeah.
So we're all in it together, and that was kind of the point of the first film. It's like, who killed the electric car? Well, we all did, because we all like our gas cars. And I like to tell the story about Henry Ford. They go, Henry Ford said, if I did what people told me to do, I would have built a better horse, not a car, because people don't want to shift from the horse to a car.
Yeah.
And I think we have an amazing opportunity now in whatever we are, 2011, for people to really start shifting. And it doesn't mean we'll all have to switch to electric cars in 1 year, 2 years, but this is the time. And
yeah, well, what is that transition like? I mean, going from a gas car that most of us are used to, going to an electric car, what sort of requirements, what does it take in order to kind of get comfortable?
Right. Well, if we're talking about right now, and you're like a kayaker and a backpacker like here in Colorado, and every weekend you go on a 140-mile drive and you take your stuff with you, and the electric car is not going to be right for that.
Yeah.
In fact, a good answer for that are these plug-in hybrids like GM has with their Volt.
Right.
Because then you plug in the first 40 miles, all electric, and then on the road trip, the gasoline kicks in. You do that. But where the electric car really fits right now is for urban driver.
Yep.
Because most of us just drive, I think, 30 miles or less a day. I mean, hopefully not even that much, but I think that's what the average is. So electric car does 100 miles.
Right.
So you're doing the whole thing within this. You're never going to the gas station. Then, if you got a big trip,
yeah.
or I'm going to go to Paris, I'm going to rent a seat on an airplane.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm going to go to Vegas, I'm going to rent the Hertz gasoline mobile, and I'm going to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
And you just shift, and you say, what do I really use? I use my bicycle, and I use my short-range electric car.
What's your foresight into when you think the consumer is really going to embrace?
Well, that's a billion-dollar question about timing of this, and I think it has a lot to do with the price of gasoline. The amount of early adopters are out there. They're willing to take this risk on a little bit. How fast they get pulled into ride sharing, like Zipcar. I don't want my own car. I'm going to share it with 5 people. Why not have it be an electric car?
Yeah.
And most important, perhaps, fleet vehicles. And if you're a Doritos truck and you drive 40 miles to deliver chips every day,
right.
electric car is perfect because
right.
charge at night, drive your days.
Yeah.
All these things, plus government incentives, and
yeah.
then you got to keep the regulations on the car companies, because if you let up on them and say, oh, you can build anything you want to, they'll just go back to their big margin trucks and things like that.
Yeah, okay. So maybe 10 years, there's no real...
I think it's game on right now.
Okay.
Let's sit in 3 years. I'll bet you the cars in the background, a couple
yeah.
will be electric.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Nice to be on the show.
Appreciate talking to you.